Shalom, welcome to Maoz Israel, a ministry based right here in Jerusalem, Israel. Maoz has been making believers strong in the land of Israel since it was founded over 45 years ago. Our heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is for her salvation. And our prayer, if you're watching this right now, is for you to be encouraged in the Lord, to be strengthened, and to be blessed. On today's program, we'll be exploring Jerusalem. Join us and you'll get an inside look into the holy city.
Hi, I'm Will from Maoz. I'm here with my good professional tour guide friend, Benny.
Hello.
Benny's going to be talking to us about Jerusalem today.
So we're in Jerusalem, and one thing you'll learn is we don't start anything off before a delicious cup of coffee. So Will, where's your coffee?
Well, I decided for a ginger corkum with ginger turmeric. It's a different kind of beverage, but it's a good tea. It's cool because it's going to be a warm day, and it's healthy.
All right, well, let's have our coffee and tea and head on out.
Benny, we just came through Jaffa Gate.
That's right.
We're now in the old city. Tell us a little bit about the area.
So we're walking through the Christian Quarter right now. Directly in front of us is one of the main shopping streets here in the old city. But we're gonna veer away from that and head straight to the Jewish Quarter and check that out before we continue on with the day.
Okay. Jewish Quarter it is.
Let's go. Yalla. We finally made it to the Jewish Quarter. We've come up a staircase. Now we're standing in the modern city above all the ruins that we just walked through. And just behind me on one side, we have a synagogue that we'll go talk about in just a minute. But you can see the beautiful thing about coming here in the springtime is all the flowers are in bloom. The smells are fantastic. You got food on one side, you got flowers on the other. Now let's go take in some of the history. Now we're standing on top of the Horva synagogue. So all around us there was a battle raging between the Jordanian Legion and the what later on will become the IDF, or called the Haganah, the Defense Force of Israel. And because we're in the Jewish Quarter, we had snipers situated on top of here. You can see the strategic advantage of being on this high ground. Yeah. So while the battle was raging, the Jordanians realized if they just blew this place up, you could get rid of all the snipers on top of it and help their cover. So they did that as we were retreating back towards Jaffa Gate area. This place was destroyed so that we could never come back and shoot any of their soldiers from on top of it. And with the building, there went the symbol of the Jewish Quarter, and it laid in ruins except for one little arch that became famous, one of the arches of the synagogue, up until 2010 when the city of Jerusalem decided to reconstruct the synagogue.
So it's interesting to think about that. We think as it's tourists when you're coming through here, you're just sort of like, wow, it looks beautiful. Yeah. But there's actually life here, and you can see the mailboxes and kids' bikes and.
Yeah, this is a neighborhood in the old city. Life goes on here.
What is regular life like?
So you can see this is regular life all around us. We're standing right next to a children's school, which is why you have all the kids here. They're out in the courtyard with their Israeli flags, getting ready for Jerusalem Day, learning about what Jerusalem Day means, which is the liberation of half of Jerusalem when Jerusalem was unified under the state of Israel. So this is what we fought for, and this is why we celebrate, and the kids have to learn this, especially here in the heart of the Jewish quarter. This area was all under Jordanian rule up until 1967 when the city was freed, and the Jews that were kicked out in 1948 were allowed to return to their homes, or what was left of their homes, in 1967. So the beautiful thing about being in the old city of Jerusalem is everything is holy here. Even our cafes are holy. Holy water, holy nuts.
Okay. So we're here in Jerusalem having lunch, a classic Israeli presentation here in the Lafa. Yours is on a plate.
Mine is on a plate. There's two ways to get it. The traditional ways inside of a flatbread called a lafa, with everything inside, or you can get it on a plate. Everything is separate with the bread on the side. How you order it is up to you. And of course it comes with Old Faithful, a whole bunch of fries usually shoved in it on the side, or however you want it. So, in Israel we say B'te'avon.
B'te'avon.
You can provide much-needed aid to Israelis impacted by the war. Go to israelneedsme.com and make a generous donation today.
Shalom. We're at our Maoz Israel studios here in Jerusalem, and we're continuing our discussion with you about Jerusalem. As we mentioned in our last show, I want to continue to encourage you that as you look and consider Jerusalem and see the faithfulness of the Lord towards Jerusalem, you will begin to see more and more the reality that the Lord keeps his promises to the Jewish people. And the God of Israel, your God, he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So we know he will keep his promises to you if you continue in his ways, and he is able to keep you going in his ways. We also saw in our previous show that Jerusalem was given a rich and beautiful heritage, but also a prophetic, spiritual, and future destiny. So here's where we left off last time. Israel was experiencing the signs and wonders and miracles of God, and this same pattern would happen over and over again, and eventually they would turn away from the Lord, and they would be cast out of the Holy Land and the holy city, Jerusalem. And eventually in 586 BC, the Babylonians came in, they captured Jerusalem, they conquered the city, they put the people into exile, they took them away to Babylon and destroyed the temple. So everything looked bleak and dark. But the promises of God are true, and they're not a lie, and there was yet a future hope. So we see, as in Jeremiah, for 70 years, the people of Jerusalem, the inhabitants, were in Babylon. But as we read in Jeremiah chapter 25, verses 11 through 12, this entire land will become a desolate wasteland. Israel and her neighboring lands will serve the king of Babylon for 70 years. Then after the 70 years of captivity are over, I will punish the king of Babylon and his people for their sins, says the Lord. I will make the country of the Babylonians a wasteland forever. And just as the scriptures predicted, Babylon was captured by Cyrus of Persia. Now, Cyrus gave a little bit more religious freedom to the Jewish people, and the Lord actually used him to help reestablish Jerusalem. The book of Ezra begins with Cyrus's call to the Jewish people to return to their homeland. Let's read Ezra chapter 1, 1 through 4. This is what King Cyrus of Persia says. The Lord, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth. He has appointed me to build him a temple at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Any of you who are his people may go to Jerusalem and Judah to rebuild this temple of the Lord, the God of Israel who lives in Jerusalem, and may your God be with you. Next, we see Nehemiah goes to Jerusalem. He has this massive building project of rebuilding the walls that surround Jerusalem. He re-inhabits the city of Jerusalem, and other cities outside of Jerusalem. He also reinstitutes temple worship, including the musical Davidic worship, because Nehemiah knows that in order for the people of God to continue in the ways of the Lord, they must have the presence of God that comes in worship. In order to follow him, we must have praise and worship all the time coming in the city of Jerusalem. But old habits returned, and Nehemiah goes back to check on things. Let's read in Nehemiah 13, 6 and 11. After a period of time, I requested to take leave from the king and return to Jerusalem. Then I discovered the evil that Eliashib, who was the high priest, had done. I also learned that the portions for the Levites had not been provided, and that each of the Levites and singers who performed the work had gone back to his own field. So I rebuked the leaders and asked, "Why has the house of the Lord been forsaken?" I assembled them and stationed them at their posts. So Nehemiah is very upset because the portions, which is talking about the tithes that were given to those worshiping in the temple, those were to provide for the people ministering to the Lord so that they didn't have to go back and get jobs. So he brings them back into their place and reestablishes them in their post so that the worship could continue. But we see that even in the time of Ezra and Nehemiah, even before them, and Zerubbabel and others come and they rebuild this, what is known as the Second Temple era, it never reached the full glory and the extent that the Lord meant for Israel. We read about the future destiny and beauty of Jerusalem in Jeremiah chapter 29, verses 10 through 14. Let's read it right now together. For thus says the Lord, after 70 years for Babylon are complete, I will visit you and fulfill my good word toward you, to bring you back to this place. For I know the plans that I have in mind for you, declares the Lord, plans for shalom, for peace, and not for calamity, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and then I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. Then I will be found by you, says the Lord, and I will return you from your exile and gather you from all the nations, from all the places where I have driven you, says the Lord. And I will bring you back to the place from which I removed you as captives into exile. So here we see that there's a greater hope for Jerusalem to be in peace and to live in security with the Lord, but also that the Lord would be with them. And so there are glimpses into the future destiny of Jerusalem over the centuries, but then the same pattern of disobedience and failure to seek the Lord really start to happen again. And we see that after Nehemiah's time, that Israel is taken over by foreign powers, and Jerusalem is not sovereign anymore, but begins to be more and more into the hands of the Gentiles. We see that Rome eventually comes after this period of the Maccabees and takes back Jerusalem, conquers the city. Even though they allow some priestly sacrifices and things to continue, there was never a freedom and glory that we see previously. But then we get a glimpse into the future destiny of Israel when just outside of Jerusalem in Bethlehem, Yeshua, the Messiah, is born. Now we're on to something. Now we're getting going into the purposes and plans of God for the ages for Jerusalem. And we see that Jerusalem was intertwined with the destiny of Yeshua. He had a lifelong relationship with Jerusalem. And we see a sneak peek into Yeshua's childhood in Luke chapter 2, verses 46 and 47. Then after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking questions. And all who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers. So Yeshua, unbeknownst to his parents, is there for the Passover and stays. And we begin to see, wow, this is an unusual child. He has a future destiny that's powerful. But later, we see Yeshua is not a kid anymore. He's grown up and he's back in the temple, back in Jerusalem, giving powerful teachings and amazing prophetic words that astounded everyone around him. Let's read in John chapter 7, verses 10 through 14. But after his brothers went to the feast, he also went, but not openly, but secretly. About halfway through the feast, Yeshua went up to the temple and began teaching. Then the Judean leaders were amazed, saying, "How does this man know so much, having never been taught?" Yeshua answered, "My teaching is not from me, but from him who sent me." So we see this intricate relationship between Yeshua and Jerusalem, and their destinies are combined. And also we see Yeshua had this amazing love for Jerusalem and the people of Jerusalem, and he wept over the city. There's no other city documented that Yeshua weeps over in such a love. Let's read in Luke chapter 19, verses 41 through 44. When he approached Jerusalem, he saw the city and wept over it, saying, "If you had known this day, even you, the things which make for peace, but now they have been hidden from your eyes. For the days will come when you will see your enemies throw up a barricade against you and surround you and hem you in on every side. And they will level you to the ground and your children within you. And they will not leave in you even one stone upon another, because you did not recognize the time of your visitation." Yeshua, being the greatest of all prophets, knew the immediate future of Jerusalem. He gives greater detail in Luke chapter 21, but he knew that Jerusalem was about to be destroyed within one generation and the temple ruined. And he also knew that he was about to go through some difficult times, but he also knew that he would be resurrected on the third day. And in Matthew chapter 20, verses 17 and 19, he tells his disciples what's about to happen. As Yeshua was going up to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside privately and told them what was going to happen to him. "Listen," he said, "we're going up to Jerusalem, where the Son of Man will be betrayed to the leading priests and the teachers of religious law. They will sentence him to die. They will then hand him over to the Romans to be mocked, flogged with a whip, and crucified. But on the third day, he will be raised from the dead." So we see the Lord has this love for Jerusalem, but he knows that they're missing the point, that he's here to help them. In Matthew chapter 23, verses 37 and 39, we read, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, who kills the prophets and stone those sent to her, how often I long to gather your children together, as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you are not willing. Look, your house is left to you desolate. For I tell you the truth, you will never see me again until you say, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, which means blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." So here we see a secret that's being revealed, that Jerusalem, Israel, will not see the Lord return again until they receive him, until they welcome him back. He says, "Until I hear you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord," which in Hebrew is an installation of the king. It's a welcoming of the king back to his throne. And when we hear that, we will see Israel welcome their Messiah, and we'll see the beginning of this Davidic reign that is promised through scriptures, that Yeshua returns as king. We have more exciting things to share with you about Jerusalem in our next episode. But first, I want you to know about an important opportunity. The information on your screen will show you how you can get involved and learn more in order to sign up to get information directly from the land of Israel. Insights, stories, and music directly from Jerusalem to you, and to get our free publication, the Maoz Israel Report, a report that's been around over 45 years, sent from Jerusalem directly to you, giving you information about what is happening here in Jerusalem, and also more about Maoz Israel Ministries. Join us next time as we continue our discussion about Jerusalem. From Jerusalem, Israel, I'm Kobe Ferguson. Shalom, shalom.
Join us for the latest news updates, teachings, podcasts, music, and more, straight from the land of Israel to you.
You want to know about what's happening in Israel right now? Do you want to understand biblical truths and understand the rich culture of the people and the land itself, the land of Israel? Then click on the link now and subscribe to our YouTube channel to learn about these things and much, much more. Subscribe now.